Hello and welcome back to another Warhammer 3 video I have for today. We're going to be covering the Rally Point Live that happened a couple days ago, showcasing 6.3, and what the Lizardmen and Tomb Kings are going to be having, and the new unusual locations, some of the hero skills, technology trees changing, a lot of stuff to be shown. Very excited. Thank you for clicking the video, and let's get into it. So the first part of 6.3 update we're going to be looking at is 4 out of the 20 new unusual locations that are going to be in the game. So they're all very uniquely strong within themselves, but they also have a lot of drawbacks, so we're going to get into. I am also going to throw them all up, so as I go through them, feel free to read them yourselves, or just listen to me rant about how crazy these are. And the cool thing about all these that we're looking at today are they're all chaos-based, to where before Chaos players weren't really getting too many unusual spell elements, because they were mainly order-focused. So hopefully, I believe it's like 50-50, some get some here, some get some there, you know. So the first one we're looking at is Covenant of the Laboratory, and that's the building, and the name is Covenant of the Crimson Plague. So when the settlement has no active plague, enables replenishment in foreign territory, immune to all non-plague attrition, winds of magic cost minus 20% for all spells, and casualty replenishment rate plus 10 for all region owner armies. So you might think, man, that is insane. That's all armies. So that's really good. You basically can conquer a whole continent in like 10 turns without that. So then you think, oh, it can't be that bad. But you have 4 negative things about this, and 3 of them are coin flips. So the first one is Crimson Plague, 5% chance per turn for weak plague to infect this region. Crimson Plague, 1% chance per turn for damaging plague to infect most of your faction. Crimson Plague, 0.1% chance per turn for a devastating plague to infect the entire world. So you could accidentally just corrupt everybody with a plague, and now everybody suffers because you wanted to have a cool army. And the fourth is like, just the cherry on top is Nurgle Corruption plus 20, and that's just there forever. So this is either going to be like really good, or like it could really mess up your playthrough, because this is 3 chances to have this hit. So like you could have the 5% one turn, and the next turn is 1%, and then like 5 turns from then you get the 0.1. So I'm very interested to see how this is going to play in the game. I'm very excited. And I will let you know, the Nurgle cannot have this. I made sure to like listen in the stream. Sadly, you would think the plague would be able, the plague guys would be able to use it, but it's fine. They're the only faction though. Same, there's like 2 Tzeentch ones we're gonna be covering. Same with them, so they won't be able to get it either. But very exciting. I am very curious how this will affect playthroughs. The second one we'll be looking at is a Dark Gift, Ancient Chaos Shrine. So diplomatic relations minus 10 with all factions, chaos undivided corruption plus 10. But here's the kicker right here. Units recruited in this province has a permanent 20% melee attack bonus. Same thing with 10% melee bonus as well, and 10% armor bonus permanently. And I think even if this goes away, those units still have it, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think I'm pretty sure that works. So the first negative effects aren't too bad for what you're getting, but it's these last 3, again, some more coin rolls. So this would be great if you're a Chaos faction. I believe they could still get them. But as like an Order faction, this is when it gets spooky. Because every time a unit is recruited in this province, there's a 5% chance a random Chaos Aligned Legendary Lord will gain 10 ranks. And then the second coin flip is there's a 5% chance a random province in the world will gain 100% Chaos Corruption. That second one, not so bad, I think. And here's the third one I mean. There's a 5% chance that a random Chaos Aligned Legendary Lord's army will gain maximum experience for all units. So you could be like being the Empire fighting the North, and you're like, oh, I got this really cool thing, now all my spearmen are like really tough now. And then out of nowhere, all the Chaos guys you're fighting, they leveled up to like level 30, and then all their units are like level 9, level 9. Like, it could get really fun, but real spooky at the same time. I really like it, though. I like the direction they're going with these. Now, these next 2 are Tzeentch flavored. The first one of them is Purple Hand Safe House, of course called the Purple Hand. Once the Purple Hand is spread to 9 locations worldwide, they will leave this location, current location 19. So I believe you get this bonus, and then they leave. So the bonuses are Campaign Movement Range plus 9, Construction Cost minus 9 for all buildings, Income from all buildings plus 9, Winds of Magic Power Reserve plus 9, Unit Experience Gain plus 9. Those are the bonuses, and when Tzeentch Corruption is 50 or more, when each turn there's a 33% chance Purple Hand will spread to another region somewhere in the world. Tzeentch Corruption is now plus 7, Army Ability, Arcane Surge. And then when Tzeentch Corruption is less than 50, so the opposite, each turn there's a 3% chance the Purple Hand will spread to another region somewhere, just like the 33, and then Tzeentch Corruption plus 15 local region. So you're thinking, man, that's a pretty good bonus. Doesn't seem too many negatives really. And What they've hid, as well as the next one we're going to talk about, there's actually a big negative, but they want it to be a surprise because, you know, Zinch is, you know, mysterious planning guy. So I'm very curious what the negatives will be, because there's 9 locations. So I'm wondering, once you hit that 9 and they leave, maybe they leave something behind. But yeah, very excited to see what these do once they're in game. For those people who might not like the unusual locations, they've actually picked 4 of them where you can actually disable before you start a campaign. That'd be the Covenant of the Crimson Plague, Faulty Doomsphere, Cult of the Crimson Skull, and the Cabal. So that's actually pretty good, because I know a lot of these are, like I said, quite insane. We don't really know what the downsides are for all these positives. So it's nice they're adding in custom settings like that. So I saved the best for last, or you could say the most unique. So the building is called Tower of the Cabal, and it's, you know, the event is called the Cabal. So its current power level when you first get it will be at 10%. And if a character ends this turn in this region with 20 or more legendary lord defeat traits, this location will be removed. The pristine plans of the Cabal will become more powerful in all future campaigns. So what that means is, if you send your lord out to go hunting other legendary lords, get their traits come back, you'll now power it up. It will be destroyed, but in your next campaign, if you get it again, it will be, for example, it's at 10 here, it'll be like 20 or 30, that'll be like power level 3 here. So when the next thing you get it, it'll be, each time you destroy an enemy faction, you'll gain an effect lasting 1 turn that provides a near instant recruitment and construction. That's pretty good. Each time, it's not a one-time thing either. So that's pretty interesting. You're thinking, oh, that's like all the other, that's pretty good, but where's the negative? The negative is a big mystery, and I don't know how it's going to work, because it's through campaigns. So if you want to brainstorm in the comments down below what you think the big negative could be for all these bonuses, let me know down below. But we're going to finish reading this off so we can keep getting all these updates rolled out to you guys. So if the Cabal power level is at 5 or more, Flawless Machinations, after losing a settlement to an enemy force, there's a 5% chance that the force will be destroyed and the settlement returned. Really good for like Kislev defense for the dwarves in the north. And if the Cabal power level is 7 or more, inevitable consequences, after conquering a region, there's a 20% chance you'll automatically occupy the entire province. So you can take one settlement in like any like big capital region city, and now you have their capital. You only need 1 fight. So again, very curious how this can play out with multiple characters. And then the last one is the strongest. If the Cabal's power level is 9 or more, impossible outcomes, there's a 2% chance per turn that one of your enemies will have their entire faction utterly destroyed. That sounds amazing. 2% is really small, but when you play a game where you go at least 100 turns before a campaign is over, that's 100 turns of getting that. So you could be Khorne and declare war on everybody, and you don't have to fight anybody. They're just all gone. Again, there has to be some really big negative to all this positive with it, but I'm very excited to see what you guys think down below, and we're going to move on to the next section. So one of the first changes we'll be looking at in 6.3 will be for the Lizardmen. They've changed how blessed spawnings work, with the additional units will be added. And it will be basically, instead of missions and quests or events or anyhow, you'll actually be able to save up some currency and get to pick what units you want, or if you need like an emergency army, they could all be blessed units. I think this gives the Lizardmen a lot of versatility they desperately needed, to where before it's like, okay, you get it from a mission, maybe you'll use these units, maybe you won't. Now it's, what can I fill the gaps in my army? So very nice to see, and now we're going to be moving on to technology. Now we're on to the new technology tree for Lizardmen, out with the old, in with the new. No longer you just have a massive page of, you know, you gotta get one building to get this technology. Now it's just pick whatever technology you want and follow that path. A lot more versatility that you'd think they would have before is now finally implemented, and there's 2 of them. We have the Great Plan and the Cold-Blooded. So think of the Cold-Blooded as more of the, you know, military strength. You have your sources, skinks, your beasts can be upgraded here. And then in the Great Plan, it's like buildings, public order, relations, a few special abilities we're going to get into. They didn't show us every technology, but I'm going to show off the ones they did show, which I think is about 6. So the first 2 out of the 6 technologies we'll be looking at don't require buildings. These are the only ones they showed off that don't. It's going to be Innate Zeal and Determining the Great Plan. So Innate Zeal is passive ability, enhanced spawnkin for Krutziger units, does replace spawnkin of course. Speed plus 10 for Krutziger units, which is good for infantry like that, they get shot really easy. And what it does is base weapon damage plus 10%, armor piercing weapon damage plus 10%, and melee attack plus 5. So it's just spawnkin, but just better, and it's, you know, friendly skink in range. And the second one will be found in the Great Plan panel, and it'll be called Determining the Great Plan, of course. Temple Citadel regions become immune to climate penalties, replenishment, 10% campaign movement range after winning a battle, all characters, leadership +5 when fighting against armies that spread corruption. So it's really good, and again, you don't need a building for it, you just need the technologies prior to it. And the next 4 technologies can be found on the same page. They do require buildings like the old technologies, but are way better. So the first one we'll be looking at is Sequence of Stoicism, physical resistance +5% for lords and embedded heroes, leadership +4 all characters, very good. Then the second one is Sequence of Heroism, attribute immune to psychology all characters, wound recovery time -1 turn for all characters, cooldown -10% for all spells and all armies. So that, again, that's pretty good. Thirdly, we have Sequence of Scrying, hero action cost -15%, hero action select chance +10% for all characters, and hero capacity +2 for the skink oracles. I would say that one's like mid compared to like the other 3, of course. And the fourth, Sequence of Infiltration, enemy hero select chance -10%, and attribute stock all heroes. So you can put stock on a few big dinos that are buffed up with skills. So these are pretty good technologies, even though yes, you do need buildings like before. I would say really good change for the Lizardmen skill tree. And next up, we do have one more skill tree to look at for the Lizardmen. That technology tree will be for Nakai the Wanderer. For those who don't play him or maybe have not owned him, he is a DLC Lizardman who does have his own technology tree with its own like special unique things about it because he is a horde faction. But as I know, it's remained mainly the same, just moved around, touched up a bit. Not as a drastic change as the original Lizardman technology tree, but it is a big change for those to see. And it will be covered as I said next week when I get my hands on it. I'll be able to show you what each one is. But for now, it looks like this looks a lot better. And the last part of the Lizardmen update you'll be looking at is their starting army and certain traits. So we've seen 5 out of the 7 they showed off during the rally point. So for example, Mazamundi's upkeep for temple guards went from 50% to 30%. That does seem like a nerf, but all their economy got boosted. So other things that got boosted for him like targeting range and miscast. So basically everyone's a lot more versatile and actually feel a little different than, 7 different dinosaurs with different paint, I'm going to put them on screen. We are going to do a deeper dive next week with Tomb Kings and Lizardmen when they're officially out and we get to actually see everything. We'll do before and after. So you're welcome to pause the video, read it, but we're going to move into Tomb Kings and look at their updates now. Tomb Kings to 6.3 are very aligned with the Lizardmen because they also get a new technology tree and they do get new starting army and traits. So for example, they all have a construct now. So Cetra has his big cat again. Kalita has a bone giant. Archon has his Tomb Scorpion, and then we also have a 4th construct. I forget the name of the construct. But basically everyone's got a big beastie now because there's unit caps. So your first units you get, it takes a very long time to get them. So no longer are you waiting 30 turns to get a bone giant or however. So now hopefully the beginning games are a lot more fun. And I would say the starting traits are definitely noticeable. Like Kalita starts at war with the Laman Sisterhood, which I think is like a hint of like what's to come, as we do know they've talked about FLC in the past. Katep now has enable magical attacks for Lord's army. But I would say like most of them have stayed mainly samey, like I said, just beefed up so they're a bit more fun to play with. Like I said before, we are going to be covering this next week in a deeper video. So again, I'm going to leave these up here if you want to read them, and we're just going to move on. We have 3 more things to cover for the Tomb Kings that got updated. First, the Books of Nagash. Now instead of being so spaced apart and not be able to like very worthy of your time to go get, now they all kind of stack with each other. So what each book does now, it's called Dune Restoration plus 3% chance for destroyed construct units to be restored after battle. And then secondly, Dune Restoration 2% hit points for destroyed construct units restored after battle. So you kind of get 2 chances for each one, so a total of 5. And they do stack each time, so you get the next book. Now altogether it's 10 if you want to accumulate it. So now you don't have to worry about your skeletons, but like your big constructs, that you spend a lot of time recruiting, you have these buildings, they get taken out of battle. A lot like the Demons of Khorne when that update came out, now they just come right back to life. I think this is a change that really needed to be added. I'm very excited because now the Books of Nagash, instead of being a secondary, can now be one of your first goals because it empowers your entire army. Another big but very needed change is the canopic jars have changed, so no longer do you only get like 1 per turn from the skill tree or just a few from buildings. They've bumped it all across the board, so a whole bunch of an increase, just like the economics around both factions. You also get them through battles now, so you start out I believe 200, and if you do the first battle you'll get over 200 back, so you'll start with like 450 around there. So you get to invest in technology and have some left over to start like throwing ideas of what you like to invest into next. I like it a lot. I definitely feel like it was a resource that was kind of mismanaged because you would save up, every 10 turns you'd get one item or one like building. Now it's just, everywhere. Now you have a second resource that you can utilize a lot more easily. So the last thing we're going to look at for the Tomb Kings for 6.3 is their technology tree. It has changed a lot, just like the Lizardmen's. We didn't get to see a whole lot of the new technology, but we do have a few of the dynasties we're going to look at. I'm going to throw them on screen. They're a little bit different. I don't believe they've had a big change unlike a lot of other technology that we're going to be looking at. So I'm unsure which every technology they showed off is actually new or just tweaked a little bit from before. So we're going to be going over the bottom line and the ones they actually showed us. So we only got like 5. So we're going to start with Proclamation of the First Dynasty, campaign movement range plus 10%, construction cost minus 5 for all buildings. You can now receive You Shop Thee from the Realms of Souls an additional 1 time. So instead of doing the 1 and done when all your guys are losing and you get like a free unit, now it's 2 and done. So maybe you'll win a lot more battles, you never know. The other one we'll be looking at is the Patronage of the Third Dynasty, unit capacity plus 2 for Carrion, Stalkers, and Tomb Scorpion. Again, really good, a lot of capacity in these. Then we got Proclamation of the Fourth Dynasty, unit capacity for the construct that uses magic, unit capacity plus 2 for Tomb Guard and Tomb Guard Hellbeards, again really good. Then we have Proclamation of the Fifth Dynasty, construction cost minus 10 for income growth public order buildings, recruit rank plus 1 and income from income buildings plus 10%. Again, a lot of these, they're either military or a lot of just like passive stuff. And the last one we'll be looking at is Proclamation of the Sixth Dynasty, construction cost minus 10 for construct recruitment buildings, local recruitment capacity plus 1, and Winds of Magic Power Reserve capacity plus 5 all armies. Again, really all good. A lot of these are very passive, so it's kind of just like you get them done and you'll see the work of it as you play. Last but not least, that was shown off during the live rally point, we have the 6 new skills for the Goblin Big Boss. We have Gap Sticka, enables sundry attacks, attribute Devastating Flanker, really good. Glory Steela, speed plus 15, attribute Executioner, an insanely great attribute. Then we have the First Rule of Stabbin', enables Disrupt, attacks, silence enemies, and reduce physical resistance. Do mind you, you can only have one of the 3 at the time, and the next 3 I'm about to say is the same deal. So the next 3 is the Barkin Pack. Passive ability, Opportunist Murderer for Goblin Wolf Cavalry units in Hero's Army. Attribute Devastating Flanker for Goblin Wolf Cavalry units, Hero's Army. So you can really go for like, if you want like, a wolf army, you can just go for that if you want to. And then the second one of the next 3 is Goblin Thinkin'. Passive ability, Dig In for Goblin Artillery units, Hero's Army. Attribute Snipe for Goblin Artillery units. This is one I would pick up. I'm a big artillery head. And then last but not least again, Ram and Speed. Attribute Glorious Charge for Goblin Chariot units. So it's very cool that it's sad you can only pick 2 out of, 1 out of each 3, so you get 2 in total. It's a little sad because imagine all this together, but some of these are really good, like having Executioner, Sundering Attack, Flanker. So what would be cool, I think what you would do is you would have multiple heroes and you would pick each one, which again, adding more versatility to units that desperately need them. That's it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. We're going to have full-on deep dives next week when it comes out for the Lizardmen and Tomb Kings and the Orc and Goblin heroes as well. Again, thank you for watching. Stay tuned to the channel. We got more coming for any more Warhammer news, and I got some live streams coming to y'all as well. Again, thank you so much, and I will see you in the future.